So I'm here with Clare Miller, who has just come out of the BBC's new programme. We're not quite sure what it's called yet because this is literally shot within a couple of days of Miller coming out.
The winner of Special Forces Ultimate Hell Week is Miller. Congratulations, Miller.
You are the winner, Clare Miller.
Yeah.
How does that feel right now?
Feels mad. Yeah, I don't think it's sunk in at all yet.
Did you expect it? Did you expect to win?
No, I'd never in a million years even really thought about winning it. I think several of us said from the start, me and Danny in particular, that we'd love to be there for the last Special Force, but I kept worrying the whole way through that just something small would get me chucked out. I was pretty convinced after the obstacle race with the Russians, where you had to carry the Bergen like this with your arms. I didn't do very well in that. I was pretty convinced that they were going to chuck me out. So, yeah, it feels really good.
So it's 48 hours since you've come out, and how's it been adjusting back into real life?
I feel tired, and I still feel really hungry all the time. I think it's going to be weird adjusting, and definitely strange going back to work, and now not being able to talk about this amazing experience that I've had for another few months. Just only with the people that have done it, and in my head I'll be replaying what's happened. But yeah, I think it's going to be weird adjusting. But there are things that are nice about it. The fact that I can now use deodorant, the fact that I'm clean, the fact that I don't think I smell like I did 72 hours ago. So yeah, there are nice parts, but it's going to be very strange going back to normal life now.
Basically, for the last 2 weeks, you've taken a complete beasting for every day for 2 weeks. Yeah. How do you cope with that physically and mentally?
Yeah, I think I've essentially coped with it all right, but it has been pretty brutal at times, and it has been very constant for 2 weeks. There's no sort of time where you've properly thought, I can now relax. I've just felt on edge all the time. You never know what's coming next. We've never known which Special Force is going to be next, what they're going to be bringing, whether you're going to be able to sleep through the night or whether you're going to be woken up. They would never tell you what was happening.
Do you feel like they were giving you authentic military experiences, or do you think a lot of it was kind of this is going to look good on TV type stuff?
Yeah, I don't know. I think there was a mix of both of that. You could tell that sometimes, especially the US guys, were getting a bit frustrated with the TV aspect of things. They basically just wanted to completely destroy us, and they wanted to get rid of as many people as possible. And I think apparently they said at the beginning, like, there's no way any women are going to get through this Navy SEALs process.
If you think they went into that with that kind of feeling, do you think they were a bit surprised to be giving you the credit at the end of the 2 days there?
Yeah, I think I put in a good show for the Navy SEALs.
What would you say were the toughest of the armies that you faced?
Physically, probably the SEALs and the Aussie experiences were the most physically tough, and the times when I was closest to being broken, mainly due to the lack of food. Both of those two starved us for most of the 48 hours and made us just do such hard physical exercise. And whereas normally, obviously, when you've been completely battered, you would, when you've done a hard training session, you'd look for food within sort of half an hour of doing it. And here we were just having session after session after session and just not eating for prolonged periods of time, and that was tough for us all to deal with.
And were there any low points in the show for you?
There was several times when I was pretty embarrassed. So the Aussie guy made us strip down to our underwear on the parade ground, and I mean, any time in front of that number of people, that would be sort of hard enough. But there was the cameras there as well, and the fact that we were wearing the the issued sports underwear, which was not very nice and not very supportive, and so I hated that experience. On the interrogation night, towards the end of the night, it was about 5 a.m, and we'd been without food, being interrogated overnight in these stress positions, and we were just getting colder and colder, and we were just sort of standing outside in these stress positions in these really flimsy overalls, and we were all just getting really, really cold. That was a pretty low point as well.
So how long do you reckon you were in that interrogation process?
I think we were from when we were captured till we were released was about 12 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, that was without food and just constant stress positions, white noise, interrogation, stress positions, white noise, interrogation, stress positions, cold, and just being moved around by these guys that were just sort of really forceful with you, like shoving you down, picking you up, and making you just feel like you just sort of a piece of meat. It was pretty grim, really.
So I can imagine something like that, like an hour would feel like 5, but
Yeah.
like 12 hours. You know,
Yeah.
how long did that feel like? That must have felt like an eternity.
The beginning part was all right. It seemed to go quite quickly. I think I must have had a little snooze at some point, but by the morning, when you're so cold that there was no way you're going to be able to sleep, that last hour just must have felt like about 5 hours. It really, really, really dragged. And especially Brassington, I couldn't see him because I had my goggles on, but I could sense that he was broken at that point and seriously ready to come out.
So swinging back the other way, there must be some pretty good highlights. What are your highlights from the show?
I think high points are just the fact that it was such an amazing experience with such a great bunch of guys and girls. Specific highs would definitely include the Ronan Keating. You went from this ultimate hell, essentially, this hour of like physical training at 2 o'clock in the morning, and you were just sort of feeling like life was really, really flipping miserable. And then suddenly they're like, so who can sing here? And David Hellard puts his hand out and goes to the front and just starts singing Ronan Keating, and then all 30 of us are just like singing at the tops of our voices, you know, this ridiculous song. But it's just like this camaraderie that you just can't, like when you were there, I just couldn't believe how happy I suddenly felt. Like it was amazing. We were all just like laughing, like we were so happy.
How does it feel on the other side of the camera, being on TV and kind of going through the TV experience?
Yeah, so it's something I hadn't really thought about before going in, and it came as a massive shock when we first walked into the parade ground. I just had no concept of how big a scale this thing was on. And so we walked into the parade ground and there was just cameras everywhere. There were these 2 massive towers. So I think there was 4 towers in all 4 corners of the parade ground. There were cameras at the top, cameramen at the top of each of them. There was a drone ahead of us. There was like cameramen and women down each side and at the back, and all these producers. It just seemed like there were so many people. I just had no concept of how many people were going to be working on it. You know, there was 30 of us, but hundreds of BBC people. It was just mad. But actually, it's amazing how quickly you just get used to it and you just try and ignore them being there. Other than when they're interviewing you and you're actually interacting with them. But the rest of the time, it's easiest to just not really think about it.
Cool. Do you think they had a reality TV mentality to it? I'm sure the main priority was to catch the toughness of the experience, but do you think they wanted to catch arguments, emotions, the kind of things that we've come to expect from reality TV now?
Definitely, and I think more than any of us want, none of us wanted it to be that, right? All of us wanted to go in there and just have this sort of experience of how hard can we push ourselves. And I don't think, by the nature of who we were, I don't think any of us would ever have wanted to be sort of reality TV people. I certainly myself definitely didn't want that to be the experience. And it definitely felt like that the BBC wanted this to be a competition and for someone to win, and it felt like we were all very much like, we actually really don't want it to be like that. This is such a shared thing that we're going through, and whoever makes it to the end should be so proud to have done so, but not because they've done it at the expense of other people. It felt like they wanted us to have competitiveness against each other.
So at Mudstacle and in obstacle racing, we know you're a total badass, but as a female coming into this show, do you think you surprised them a little bit with what you were capable of?
I don't know, I like to think so. I think that last run on the last day, I was properly proud of that. I think that I could sense that the DS guy that started out with me, he was definitely tiring towards the end. Yeah, I like to think that they were impressed with with my physical endurance and strength. I've trained so hard the past couple of months that actually I think I have got really pretty fit, and I like to think that they were impressed with it. Yeah.
And how do you feel like, because in each of these courses, females wouldn't be allowed into them or allowed to take part in these experiences that you've taken part in. So, how does it feel to kind of be given the opportunity to do that?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's a massive privilege. Like right from the start, it's sort of, I guess it's been in the back of my mind that I'd always wanted to know, could a female pass the SAS selection process? I guess that's not exactly what I've done, and I still couldn't say for sure that I could, because if there was a sort of carry a 60 kilo Bergen for this amount of time or whatever, I still might struggle with that. So I'm not saying that I now feel I could pass SAS selection. I haven't proven that, but I guess I have proven that a female can have serious endurance and at least sort of I feel like I performed well in the mental tasks. So yeah, I feel proud and pleased that females won it. I think that's cool.
So you say that you trained hard and you prepared yourself well for the programme, and I imagine spending 2 weeks smashing yourself and being beasted is going to get you pretty fit, right?
Yeah, I think for sure. I think I'm fitter now than I ever have been. Actually, probably going into the programme, I was already fitter than I ever have been, because the last 2 months I've just been doing so much of BMF and just military style fitness and learning, and so much running and marathons and running with weight, that yeah, I think I'm definitely fitter now than probably ever have been before. And as a result, my abdomen is looking really quite disgusting.
No, exactly what I was going to ask you. Come on, get up, show us. I'm hoping this gets captured on telly.
It's just the veins.
This is just in case it doesn't get captured on telly. Get your abs out now.
I don't know if the veins are just a bit disgusting. I don't know if it's quite at its height now.
Yeah, turn around this way a little bit.
These veins are just
Badass
gross.
admin. Look at that.
It's disgusting. And that's after quite a lot of cookies and protein bars to try and sort myself out. So yeah, need to get rid of that. Definitely the veins anyway, they're actually quite gross. This bit's fine.
Nice one. Well, that is Clare Miller. Thanks very much for your time.
No worries.
Many congratulations. You were amazing on the show, and see you in an obstacle race soon.
Thanks, Pete.